Hello everyone and welcome to today's Live.Explore. My name is Yasmin Blair. Process demands are becoming ever greater even for small businesses. If you've been thinking about optimizing your production for some time now, today we have the solution for you. We're going to show you that we have individual solutions for every company, regardless of size and industry, all the way from work preparation to storage and cutting. And all of this adapted to the range of parts in your production, your manufacturing processes, and your product portfolio. Automating your operations is a big step that brings up many questions. And today, we want to show you various cutting solutions and thereby give you an initial basis to help with your decision. Because we have saws from small to extra large. All machines can be individually configured and have standardized interfaces for easy integration. For example, with an area storage system or into further process steps. And how this works is explained to us by our experts on site, starting with product manager Jörg Hamburger. We'll start today with the smallest saw. It doesn't cost much more than a well-equipped sliding table saw, but it is more precise at cutting and also more efficient. Jörg, for whom is the purchase of a Sawtech B130 worthwhile?
Yeah, thank you, Yasmina, for the introduction. Well, our Sawtech B130 has a wide range of customers, but typically it's kind of an entry product for panel saws, for horizontal panel saws actually, because a lot of those customers have never worked on a saw like this, so this is completely new territory for them, and they see a lot of new possibilities and a lot of new chances in this. Typically what they do today, they're cutting their boards at a one or more sliding table saws or at a standing saw, oftentimes with two people at a time, which is a big difference to working on our B130, as you can see in the background already. Those companies are usually smaller shops, smaller companies, not a lot of volume, and they often work in one shift. But they even see with like 10 panels in a day, they see a lot of big advantages working on with this saw. When you come to bigger companies and they have, let's say, a storage saw combination and are working more on an industrial level, the B130 could be an additional saw to that, cutting non-serious parts or recuts or something like that.
All right, Jörg, that sounds great already. What are some of the further advantages it has over a classic sliding table saw?
Well, there's a lot of advantages. Like you said before already, a B130 does not cost a lot more than a really well-equipped sliding table saw. So even for a small budget, this is very interesting. In addition to that, we have a lot of technical and process-related advantages. Like I said before, a lot of customers today cut on a sliding table saw with two people. We only need one person on the saw, meaning we're a lot more efficient, we're resource saving, and therefore also a lot faster. Oftentimes customers that have cut their panels within a few hours or something can cut their panels on this saw within an hour. So a lot faster actually. Very important is the ergonomics, as you can see already. Moving the boards on our air cushion tables is a lot easier for the operator, and also is a lot gentler for the material, so there's not getting too much damages or something like that. Also very important, safety. Safety has a very high standard on a pressure beam saw compared to a sliding table saw, which makes it very interesting for smaller companies especially. And in the end, space is always a topic in smaller workshops. So including the panel actually, this saw does not require a lot more space than a sliding table saw.
So that means I don't have to make significantly more room in the workshop. That's fantastic. As we also know, HOMAG machines are constantly being developed even further. How have you optimized the B130 recently?
Yeah, we're always optimizing our saw. Obviously, we're always working also on the whole machine. But talking about additional functions. So What we did is, in addition to the standard cutting length of 3200 millimeters, we extended it to 3800 millimeters, which gives you the opportunity to use bigger panels and also having more space in front of the machine on the air cushion tables to buffer parts and stuff like that. In addition, with the longer cutting length, we added a easy to feed lift table in the back of the machine in the same space actually, which gives you the opportunity to have a more automatic in-feed system and a little bit more output and faster processes. And a highlight, as you can see in the background already, is the IntelliGuide Basic, which is an LED strip right at the cutting line that guides the operator like a GPS system in a car. It helps him through the cutting process. It helps him to keep a high level of output and making no mistakes at all.
All right, so really convenient new options. Thank you for that, Jörg. Another very important feature is control software. Anne Mömesheim, who is the product manager for software and digital products, is very familiar with just that. Hi there, Anne. HOMAG equips even the smallest saws with CADmatic 5 control software, as standard that is. What's behind this software?
Yes, our current CADmatic 5.1 controller is identical across all machine levels. And within the well-known HOMAG framework, it offers an innovative and intuitive touch operation concept. So you can, for example, also swipe between applications or production modes. And it also offers a very easy data handling. So you do not search for data, you simply find the data when you need to have it at hand. All machines are by standard Tapio ready, so they can connect to our Tapio apps and tools that are available on the Tapio store.
So it's all about easy and efficient work for the operator. Many carpenters would like to see more efficiency in their operations. So what else does HOMAG offer in this area?
In order to increase efficiency at our customers, we have also introduced our cloud-based optimization software IntelliDivide a couple of years ago. It is especially interesting for customers that may never have used an optimization system before. It is very intuitive to learn. You just need a couple of tutorials to get along with it, and it offers you always the best solution depending on shortest machine time or lowest waste or best efficiency for the operator.
That seems to be an optimal machine for beginners and those changing over with very intuitive and simple operation. It is also optionally available with the unique IntelliGuide operator guidance system, and that makes the Sawtech B130 a true highlight. But what about the Sawtech B200? What are the advantages that brings, and is that perhaps the right saw for me? Here to tell me about this saw is our product manager, Jörg, once more. Jörg, what do I get if I choose the B200?
Well, Jasmine, what you get with the Sawtech B200 is a much more powerful saw with customers that have higher volumes, higher requirements. But we can fulfill those requirements with the option range of the B200 and really tailor the configuration to the customer need. Especially the range is opened up when it comes to the in-feed systems. We not only have the easy-to-feed lift table that we also have on the B130, we'll also have the possibility to connect to a storage system, or for more like an entry-level customer using the HBX single-axis in-feed system that automatically transfers the material to the back of the machine and therefore makes material handling automatic and very gentle. By the way, our fourth option for in-feed system is the classic lift table machine, and that connected with a Power Concept Practive gives you a really big step when it comes to the output at a really great price-performance ratio. But coming back to the whole range, one other highlight is actually that we have the DustX technology on the machine here on the B200. You might know it from the B300, B400 already, but now we transferred it down to the B200.
Okay, Jörg, that instantly makes us wonder what exactly is behind the patented DustX technology.
Well, DustX technology includes combined air jets that guide the dust and the chips towards the right angle fence, where we have a special dust extraction geometry, making the machine the cleanest machine on the market actually. So no air pistol with compressed air required anymore, with the chips flying everywhere, with the advantage of having no scratches on the parts, having a lot less scrap material, scrap parts to get rid of, so a very efficient production process.
So more fluid work, thereby even more efficient in the workshop. Fantastic. So what is the situation with cutting optimization? Just now we heard about the IntelliDivide option, but there is another variant of cutting plan optimization. Arne, what can you tell me about that?
Yes, since many years we are also offering our CutRite optimization software, which is a modular system, so every customer can find the right modules and the right size of the software for his business. We have a lot of features that are available, for example, an integration module for our storage systems, so that the customer can always see the quantities of the available material in his storage system, for example. Also, CutRite will always pre-calculate the cutting time of a job, so you can see how long it will take to cut the job, for example. Of course, you also get your cutting patterns with it. CutRite is available as a single user system, but we also offer floating licenses, and a lot of customers are meanwhile already integrating the CutRite software as a backend into their web shops.
All right, thank you, Arne. And then there's another real highlight, our latest development, and that's the Power Concept Classic option. Back to Jörg. What's behind that?
Well, Jasmine, this is truly a great option, our entry-level Power Concept Classic that we developed specifically for the requirements of the front-loaded B130 and B200 machines. Not only did we develop a great technology here, it's also a very price-competitive product that we can show you in advance of our market release in the fall. The use cases for the different machines is also a bit different. So for the B130, it's more like covering production peaks and working them off very easily and very fast. For the B200, the use case is lifting up the basic production capacity of the whole machine already. And the technological advantages of this solution is, for example, that we have an independent drive that is moving the Power Concept clamp forward in order to be able to cut 2 strips at a time that have a different cross-cut measurements. So this brings up the output dramatically with this option. Also, integrated into the Catmatic software solution of resorting the strips is also a benefit when using this Power Concept. Another big highlight in the end is actually that the Power Concept Classic is upgradable, starting from machines that you buy this summer, which is very important because, as I said, we release it in fall. So even a customer that buys a machine today can upgrade with this option later. So it's a future-proof option.
All right, and we have the new option available on a machine on site. So please, would you show us a little bit of that?
Of course, I can show you. Let's have a look on how the technology works.
All right, great. And now you are at the Sawtech B300 with connection to the automatic panel storage unit StoreTech S200. This is the next step for HOMAG customers. What makes the saw so popular among carpenters?
Well, the Sawtech B300 basically offers everything, everything that you can imagine, and therefore is unbeaten when it comes to performance, ergonomics, and the options range. For example, when it comes to infeed systems, it offers the widest range in our portfolio, starting from a front-loading saw, switching over to a lift table machine that goes all the way up to the angular plans. Also the connection to the plane storage system, like you can see in the background here, offers a wide range of integration options when it comes to having a pre-stacking table in there or a panel labeling system and all that. So you see a lot of options to suit to the requirements of our customers. Also, when we come a little bit closer to the saw, there's a lot of useful functions in there. A lot of them are actually USPs in the market that nobody else has. Starting with our patented DustX technology that we showed you on the B200 before. Switching over to the IntelliGuide Professional version that is working together with our power concept, for example. Then the labeling printer at the pressure beam, which is unique. And going all the way to the front to our software options that help with destacking the parts. So you see, we can configure the B300 to all the customer needs that they have.
It really can do everything, and even a little bit more than that. As a storage saw combination, the B300, along with the StoreTech S200, combine solutions from hardware and software as well as intelligent automation. So how does that all work in the workshop?
What we basically focus on is on the complete process. And we want to function as something like a one-stop shop for our customers. So that they only have like one person to talk to and get a seamlessly integrated, smoothly working solution. We always look at the process from the front, so it starts in the production planning department. There we use, for cutting optimization, ideally we use HOMAG Cutright, for example, as Arne described you earlier. Or using also IntelliDivide like we saw before. With those optimal cutting plans and the automatic production order that comes out of that, we go to the plane storage system. In the plane storage system, obviously we use the very gentle material handling in connection with options like effective pre-stacking of the right panels in the right production order. Or later on, when you have used your storage for a longer time, you have the wood analyzer that gives you functionalities to automatically give you suggestions for optimizing your storage. And then we move over and get closer to the saw, where you can integrate multiple machines and the storage is managing where to put the right panel at the right time. Then coming to the front of the saw, the options I mentioned before. What is the advantage of those options? It's not the option itself, it's how the options work together. And this is very important. So for example, we don't just have the cleanest machine on the market, but the IntelliGuide Professional knows exactly how to work together with a power concept option. Yeah? So it's fully integrated. Or IntelliGuide Professional also knows exactly how to work with the destacking module and showing the operator where to exactly put the next part on the destacking tables. So we are not looking at the options itself, but what it can do when it gets put together and integrated as a complete process. And this is the main focus that we have here.
All right, the machine really has a lot to offer. Thank you, Jörg. Maximum flexibility is one of the most important skills in woodworking shops. First off, many batch size 1 orders have to be processed as automatically as possible. Another situation may require series production jobs with large batch sizes in a package. And in between, there are always express jobs. If I have requirements like these, what does HOMAG offer me, Jörg?
Well, the machine concept of the B300, B400 FlexTech is ideally suited to that because for small and medium-sized workshops, or even workshops that work more in an industrial style, this machine suits their requirements ideally, and it always can be configured to what they actually need. because of this machine concepts, a lot of companies, maybe a lot of smaller companies, might only need one saw in total in their production, because we can always switch over from automatic robot mode to a manual mode. So for example, as you already said, for the batch size 1 production, I want to cut fully automatic and destack it fully automatic. But at times I have a serious order where it's more suited to get it done as fast as possible. So then I switch over to the manual mode in the means of a few minutes and produce it with books or panels like I do on a B300. Also in different kinds of workshops and companies, depending on company sizes or the parts portfolio or the volume, it kind of depends what the share of automatic and manual mode will be, and it can vary quite a bit.
So that means the machine concept is suitable for many different company sizes. What are the other advantages? Why should I, as a medium-sized carpentry company, for example, dare to make such an investment?
Well, because the solution is specifically tailored to those customer requirements. Like I said, for example, the switching over between the automatic mode and the manual mode. Also, having the saw with this concept is tailored towards the topic of not having enough specialists in the production anymore. So when I'm able, with this machine I am able, relatively easy to have an optimal destacking strategy, and I can run the machine for a very long time in the automatic mode, then I can produce without the operator having to be there at the saw. The operator can work somewhere else, value added, and therefore I can produce more output with the same number of people. So that's a very big advantage, obviously. In workshops where we have this machine running, we see that the operator of the edge bender also runs the saw and the storage at the same time. So this is a very lean production there. Now in the end of the day, when I'm able or need additional parts to be produced and I can let the machine run without anybody being there, we call that a ghost shift. This is a big point for getting more output when you consider the whole 24-hour day, obviously. And then in addition to that, my production planning gets easier. I have a much more constant output where I'm not dependent on the operator, and therefore my orders get out a lot more on time and I can plan it properly.
So the robot can work when everyone else is already finished. That's of course great. Can anyone in the company operate such a robot?
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice thing about this machine and this machine concept. The operator is fully integrated into the control system and the process of the machine. So there's no special robotic know-how necessary.
All right, that does sound very straightforward, but I can still imagine that you should give it some thought before you just start producing that way, right? Do you have any tips on what's important at the very beginning?
Of course. It's very important to know how you want to produce, not just at the cutting cell, but also in the rest of your production. So you have to think about that. It starts with how the machine is set up, what's the configuration. For example, of the destacking tables, do you have it in a southern direction or you have it in an eastern direction? And then how do you configure the machine? The next step is to think about, do I want to destack chaotically or by part type? So this determines how we do the destacking strategy. A third point would be that you have to think about which parts need to go to the edge bender, which parts go to the CNC machine directly, which parts maybe even go to the assembly area directly after the saw. And a fourth point, very important, is to think about what happens with my offcuts or my waste parts. Do I want to cut them down and put them in the wood chipper right away? What do I do with my offcuts? Do I want to destack them? Do I want to assign a specific destacking table for that. But no worries, we have specialists within HOMAG that help our customers with the right destacking strategy.
Okay, let's say I have now defined a destacking strategy that is optimal for me. How do I manage to make maximum use of the machine concept?
Well, it all starts with the basic machine configuration, like I said before. And that in connection with our Catmatic control system, where I have a couple of functions that help the operator a lot, which is a graphical and a temporal preview of the stacks, for example. When does he have to come back? There is an overview of that. Then in connection with the machine board, that always tells the operator when he works at the edge bander at the other end of the factory, when to come back to the machine and do a stack change. So this is like the basis. If I want to increase the output, for example, you start using a ghost shift like I explained before. You increase your output by quite a lot, even more, 20–25% based on one shift. The next step would be to use our new software tool, IntelliOptimizer Stacking, which is optimizing the production planning. It takes the output of the cut right and the cutting plans and rearranges the order in a way that you get better stacks, less stacks, and therefore you don't have to come back to the machine as often. The machine runs for a longer time and therefore creates more output in the same time. And the fourth step would be to use also one of our newest developments, the automatic stack outfeed. We have that in two different options, the semi-automatic and the fully automatic stack outfeed. Here on the machine configuration you see a semi-automatic stack outfeed, which actually has on each destacking table you have additional buffering space, so you can create double the number of stacks while the machine is running, so the machine runs a lot longer before you have to stop it and take out the stacks. And with the fully automatic stack outfeed, the machine basically doesn't have to stop at all anymore, because you have a process of taking all the stacks out of the safety fence area fully automatic, and the infeed of the new pellets or boards is done automatically as well. So with these features and these possible steps, you can tailor this machine concept to the need of the specific requirements and production process.
A machine concept with potential for growth. The details should of course be discussed in an individual meeting with one of our experts. So before we come to the end, you have another highlight for me, the fully automated HOMAG saw for batch size 1 cutting, the SawTech B320 FlexTech.
Yes, of course. I don't want to leave this machine out. Very interesting machine. We specifically designed it for the batch size 1 production, specifically for the fully automated batch size 1 production, where you don't need any operator at all near the machine at any time usually. We designed it to produce and to cut single panels. That means those are components like a much thinner saw blade. We have specific drive systems. We have a divided pressure beam that can act as a dust curtain when we do dust cuts, for example. We have a very efficient exhaust system with only one exhaust pipe connecting. And as you can see in the background, the parts handling of the robot is very specific, using the active strip buffer on the left side to be more efficient, to have higher output, and also to put parts right behind the cutting line, which is very unique to a machine like this. A big point that we make is that we have a huge flexibility when it comes to our configurations that we handle in the standard. So we can tailor and design and customize the configuration of the machine to the customer need to the customer situation in the factory, and we can tailor it from the standard, and that's very important to know, to whatever the customer really needs. As you can see here, this is a combination between destacking tables and a single part outfeed. This can be connected in the end to have like a manual destacking of parts, or putting into a different machine manually, or having it connected in a line together with, let's say the next step would be an edge banding machine, for example, in many cases. And in the back for infeeding, almost every SawTech B320 FlexTech is connected to a storage system for more automated infeed of the panels in the back. Other important options are when we want to increase output. We can add a second program fence in the back to push the board that's put down from the storage forward to the front program fence, so processes get faster in that way. Second interesting option is that we can add an offcut shuttle. So the offcuts don't have to be transported through the saw back to the storage, but go a different route, not impacting the output of the saw, or better, increasing the output of the saw. All standard options that we have available. This in connection with our simulation process, where we handle customer data, we can simulate the performance of the machine really accurately, as we saw in the years of experience we have already. And depending on the parts portfolio, the performance of the machine can go as high as over 2,000 parts in a shift. Always depends on the cutting plans and the parts, obviously. And lastly, very important also, we have a lot of experience, because we have over 100 machines in the field, and therefore this is proven technology with a very high technical availability and very low parts costs or unit costs.
A very coherent overall concept, but of course, this saw is not suitable for everyone. Who was the SawTech B320 FlexTech developed for?
Mostly developed for industry customers, I'd say, or even like big, medium-sized customers that work with batch size 1 production. This machine is very popular in the kitchen industry, but also is used in bathroom furniture, or even companies that deliver parts for other companies, like kind of a cutting workshop. And what's very popular is also to not just have one of the B320 FlexTech, but have multiple machines next to each other, basically combined to each other. What's the advantage there? Obviously, the output increases by the machine. Yeah? We have a much more redundancy, so if like one machine has a problem, there's always the other machines still running. That's a big advantage. Then we can share the waste disposal system amongst the machines, and we can also share the outfeed transport to the next machines, which is a big advantage as well. So you see a machine that is very well equipped, very well thought out, and very successful in the market.
All right, so now we've heard a great deal from you about the various saws. Thank you so much for your input. Yes, as we have seen, whether it's a single saw or an automated dividing cell, whether it's the basic equipment or highly individual extras, with HOMAG you can process your orders more flexibly, quickly, and economically. And not only in the cutting, by integrating the upstream and downstream processes, the smooth flow of parts is constantly optimized. The software solutions also ensure lean processes and maximum material utilization. So, to sum it up, HOMAG has the right solution for flexible and efficient cutting for every size of company, from small to extra large. You can find more information here on live.homag. Many thanks for watching.